and welcome to a 4 News Now special looking back at the heartwarming stories in our community over the last year. I'm 4 News Now anchor Neil Wong.
And I'm Aaron Luna. 2019 ends a decade, and 4 News Now marked the beginning of a new era.
In July, we said goodbye to our old set of 20 years and unveiled a new state-of-the-art set, look, and brand. A major change for us with a workspace that not only looks cool, it lets us better use video to tell you the stories and information that matter most to your life.
And this summer, we also welcome Nia to our 4 News Now family. A welcome addition as we move into the new era of news in Spokane.
And it has been so much fun getting to know Spokane and seeing the stories that matter the most to our community.
It has been a year of dynamic change in the inland Northwest. Much of that change happened right in the heart of our city. Riverfront Park transforming before our eyes, all because voters saw the city's vision 5 years ago. This year, crews finished work on the pavilion, which opened for Expo 74 and now has new life as a community gathering space, complete with a nightly light show you can see from all over downtown.
And voters in Spokane also chose a new leader. Just months after retiring from 4 News Now, Nadine Woodward was elected as the city's mayor. She promises big solutions for the Lilac City and takes over from David Condon, Spokane's mayor of the last 8 years. Tonight, we're looking back at 2019, not at politics and policy, but at the stories that warmed our hearts.
We begin with the story that exemplifies that word, community. Taylor Graham takes us down the road to Ritzville.
Larry's entire town cranked out 3 weeks worth of work in 6 hours today to make sure the cancer that's already claimed his body doesn't claim the land that he's worked so hard on for the last 50 years.
It's just awe-inspiring to see how fast these fields are evaporating now.
It's one thing to know in the back of your mind that your family, your friends, and your neighbors have your back.
You know, a matter of a few phone calls, I mean, and things start to happen in a hurry.
It's another, though, to see it sprawled out right in front of you on the 1,200-acre lot you've spent your life on.
I was 13 years old when I started here, and I'm 63 now, so it's been a few years ago. I've been out here my whole life.
Today marked the first day in 50 years. Fourth-generation farmer Larry Yockey wasn't out there, harvesting his family's wheat field.
I was hoping, of all hopes, that I could do this, but
What started as a spot on his back in February has spread to his bones. Cancer has cracked his ribs and hip, making all the hard labor that comes with harvest nearly impossible.
All the farmers are like family to me.
So that didn't sit well with Larry's longtime friend Brian, who called in 18 semis, 17 combines, and 11 bankouts to harvest Larry's land.
I mean, so tell him to trip 1 into 3. The way all of us look at it, it's a way to pay him back. I mean, he didn't want this at all. I mean, you know, he wanted to do it in things, but, you know, we just feel it's a way to pay him back.
But for Larry, it's more than the harvest. Seeing his town come together on this lot for him.
just gratitude. Like it's not describable, the gratitude I have for what's going on today.
In Ritzville, Taylor Graham, 4 News Now.
Community begins with our children, and the inland Northwest has a big heart for kids looking for their forever families.
For many families, the adoption journey culminates in late November on National Adoption Day. 4 News Now's Ellen Dow takes us to the Spokane County Courthouse for this life-changing day.
Normally, courtrooms are quiet as people wait to hear from the judge, but today was a little different. In Judge Belkengren's courtroom today, it was rowdier than normal because these 3 boys were finally getting adopted.
All the time they were asking, why aren't we adopted yet? Is adoption day tomorrow?
Well, adoption day is today.
Today is a special day for 3 of these young men.
The beginning of their story is a little different because the oldest, Aries, was Amber's student the first year she started teaching.
He is really who just kind of inspired my husband and I to start fostering.
That was 2 years ago. They then took Luke in as well. They all didn't get along so easily in the beginning.
Have always kind of had a guard up and a shield up, and that's just kind of peeled away over the years, and it's just really been incredible to see.
Then in November 2018, Amber received another call asking if there was room for Chase.
Chase, one time we were just walking into the doctor and he said, Amber, did you know that it took me 2 years to find you, but now I have my forever family and I am not going anywhere.
Now they're definitely not going anywhere.
So congratulations, I now present to you Aries, Lucas, and Chase Swain.
For Amber, well, she has a lot on her hands now, with 3 boys running around her home.
That's been an adjustment because I grew up with sisters, and so there's so many things where I'm like, what are you doing? Is that we don't pee outside. We don't we don't put tacks in Nerf bullets. That's not a good thing.
She'd take that rambunctiousness any day and still let the boys know they're not going anywhere.
It's been a long road here, and we're just so grateful to finally be here.
Finally able to make it official and riding off in a limo to celebrate the big day. In Spokane, I'm Eleni Dow, 4 News Now.
We love those stories of families brought together.
For years, we've helped bring families together with our weekly Wednesdays Child series, showing you kids that are looking for that forever home. And sometimes those kids come back. Robin Nance has one of those special stories.
Cakes are better when they're cold.
It was 12 years ago when Jared walked in front of the camera, a shy 13-year-old boy who took himself out of his comfort zone to go on KXLY4 as a Wednesdays Child.
It was just like, oh my God, are people going to see me? What's going to happen? And I just thought it would have been this huge flop. Like, nobody would have responded or done anything.
He just wanted to find an adoptive family.
They'd have to be nice, of course.
After the story aired, a couple from Texas saw it online. They flew up to meet Jared. He flew down to visit them. After a number of visits, they all agreed it was a good fit.
It just felt right. And, you know, the transition was really smooth. I made friends very easily. I lost a lot of weight, thank goodness.
Jared moved to Austin, Texas to start his new life, one with lots of opportunities.
The city was gigantic in comparison to Spokane, so it was like experiencing all these new things. And eventually, as I settled down at the house, we ended up traveling around the United States and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I met
Jared's parents later adopted 2 other boys, so Jared went from being the only child to being a middle child, which is actually what he told me he wanted in 2007. Jared went on to get his bachelor's degree from Texas State University and is hopeful that he's selected for a job in a private research facility in either Portland or Boston, which will also help pay for graduate school.
I have no idea where it's going to take me.
Taking a look back at his time in foster care, Jared doesn't do so grudgingly.
It can either be a transformative thing for people, like it can make the kids stronger, or it can just beat them down and turn them into what society just automatically perceives about foster care. And it wasn't the case for me at all. And I know
maybe it's because of his personality, or maybe it's because he had an amazing outcome.
So, I mean, life's crazy. Luckily, I have 2 very caring and supportive parents who, you know, despite some of my hiccups, have just been there the whole entire time.
Jared was close with his biological grandmother and some family members in Spokane, and his parents made sure to foster that relationship, encouraging phone calls and even visits every year. It was on his last visit that we got reacquainted. I sure hope he'll stop by again on his next visit. With Wednesday's Child, I'm Robin Nance, KXLY 4 News.
We're just getting started. We have so much to share about the stories that touched our hearts in 2019. Up next, one that's sure to make you smile about a special Halloween celebration that crossed generations.
And a story that's bigger than football of a young man's journey from refugee camp to WSU football player. His inspiring story next on this 4 News Now special, Stories from the Heart.